Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ask Coach V. So excited to be here. Happy New Year. Oh my gosh. Hello, Coach Ivon. Good to
Hey,
see you.
hey, coach. Yeah, Happy New Year. This is our first one of the year. That's
Yes,
exciting, right?
so excited. Of course, we are here one more time and we are committed to show up many times throughout the year to bring you strategies, knowledge, power, and help you with skills to grow and answer some of the great questions, right, Coach?
Exactly. For anyone tuning in who hasn't seen us here before, what we do on Ask Coach V is, you guessed it, we ask Coach V. I go out there and I find questions, challenges, scenarios that real agents are asking, real agents are finding themselves in, and I take those questions and I bring them here to Coach V, who is a top producing agent, top real estate coach. Coach and I have been coaching agents in this space for a long time. So you guys get to hear straight from an expert what she would do, how she would handle this. And so I got some great questions for us today, Coach. Are you
I'm
ready? Why
ready.
don't we jump right into it?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so let me throw the first one up on the screen. I saw this one in a Facebook group, and the question is, I'm curious, have you found a way to grow in real estate without sacrificing time at home? What systems slash boundaries have you put in place to protect family time? All
Mhm.
right, pretty good question, right? And I think
I
it's a
love it.
pretty common theme that agents like to joke about and talk about is that you can't really have a life if you're an agent and all this sort of stuff. So, Coach, can you balance family time? And if you can, how do you do it?
I love it. It's such a great question, especially to start the new year, get new strategies to make your life easier, better, and more productive. Yes, yes, everything is possible with the right strategy, the proper mindset, and the right approach, the framework. And I understand what this person is saying because in the beginning, coach, I was just like many of them. My life was like this. I was feeling guilty and bad because I didn't have family time. Some of you guys know that actually Coach Ivon is my son, and he grew up in a dynasty of real estate, me selling residential, his dad selling commercial. And under my first 3 years in the business, I didn't know any better. That was before coaching, before strategies and smart tactics. I just worked day and night. I remember when 3 months without a day off.
Wow.
And I was killing myself. Actually, I was making money. You guys know my first year I sold 32 homes, my second year 62 homes, but I had no life. And then one day I broke down because working with buyers, and they didn't show up, and I spent a lot of time with them. And then it hit me like a tennis ball. I like, this is ridiculous. How can I have money and be so miserable? And then I realized is I was selling out of energy, passion, enthusiasm. I didn't have systems. I didn't have process. And most of all, I didn't have standards and boundaries. So, darling, that's how we start. You have
So,
to have a
so
clear
Coach,
picture,
I think that there's a lot to this question, right? This
right? A
isn't this
lot.
isn't a simple like, hey, just do this or just do that. So let's kind of attack it piece by piece,
Okay.
because we're not going to be able to give this agent everything like we do with our clients, but we can give you some good strategies. So let's
Exactly.
let's start first with, so they asked specifically, what are some systems, what are some boundaries? Let's start
Awesome.
first with some of the, how about the boundaries? And then we can talk about some of the systems that are going
Right.
to help you maintain those boundaries. So what are
Wonderful.
some of the boundaries that were important for you when you made that shift?
Wonderful. But first of all, I got to add one more thing. It starts with a decision. You decide to schedule priorities and you schedule priorities of your family first and everything around. And then you really schedule priorities because if you have to take a kid to a doctor, you schedule all your appointments around your doctor, right? Because you put importance to that. So decide when is your family time, your daytime, your kids' time, and then put there. So number one strategy is have a daily plan, a daily schedule with everything is there. Time to work, time to rest, time to play. Now,
Well, and coach, I just want to
create the
speak to your
system,
first point, right? Because I,
please.
before we go right past it is, yeah, that decision factor is huge, right? Because
Huge.
so many agents and even people run around saying they don't have time for this, don't have time for that, but they make time for other stuff, right? They still make time to watch Netflix, they still make time to do
To
whatever.
browse.
They still do all that stuff. So that point can't be overlooked. It might not be the sexiest, right? It's not, hey, here's this scheduling software, but the fact that you have to actually prioritize it high
Right.
enough is really important. So okay, so the first thing coach said was you have to have a daily plan, you have to have a routine, you have to have a roadmap that you follow. Talk a little bit more about that, coach.
Exactly. By the way, I'm so excited. This is going to be one of the points. I'm doing a conference in New York now at the end of January, where I'm going to speak to 400 agents and I'm going to talk about this. One of the points is the importance of having your daily plan where you prioritize your most important things, the things that moves the needle, the things that are important for you and your family, and have a morning routine. So right away, do the most important things. Share your schedule, your daily plan with your family so they understand how you work, so they don't feel left out and be upset. And then you must do the most important things in the morning. I had plenty time after I discovered this. There's an order to this madness. I said, you know what? Starts with me. Here's when I lead generate and lead follow up. This is when by the way, it starts in the morning. I right away for this first time I started, 5:45. I have it. I had a plan. Here's when I do my affirmation, visualization, gratitude journal. Here's when I set my intention, look at my day. Here's when I go to the gym. Here's when I have breakfast with my kids. And then of course I role play my skills because if you don't get better, you get worse. And if you don't practice your objectional handlers and your what you need to learn, you get rusty and you get bad. You can't practice in the client. So I had role play time. Then I had money time. So block the money time, right? Make non-negotiable. Make it
And guys,
say,
for anyone who hasn't heard Coach V say money time before, we're talking about lead generation, lead follow up, right?
yeah,
Every single day, and if you don't know, now you do because I'm about to tell you. The number one needle moving activity means it actually makes a difference in your business for you to grow as a real estate agent, having conversations, setting appointments. So every single day, you need to have that blocked. That has
yeah,
to get done. Even if nothing else gets done in the
exactly,
morning, because it's important, lead generation, lead follow up, that's your money time. And so when you have a schedule like that for you to follow, it's a lot easier for you to make sure you get that important stuff done. And then it's a lot easier to set boundaries and not have to feel crazy and answer the phone
exactly.
at 10 at night.
Exactly. So, coach, you have to create a mindset. For me, it's like this is my business. My business opens at 30. 8:30. So if you had a Starbucks coffee shop, you don't open one day at 6 a.m., one day at 5 a.m., one day at 10 a.m. You have a specific time that you open because if you don't open the same time, people are gonna see that you're not reliable, that you're not showing up, they're not gonna come and you're gonna fail. So for me, it was 8:30. 8:30 every day, my business open. 8:30, I was in a place that I could get myself in state for 4 minutes, and then I would go set appointments. It was an appointment to set appointments. So when you create those kind of boundaries and create standard, like I am a person that sets appointment every day. Because if I don't set appointment, I go broke. Because if you don't have appointment, you can't convert. Conversion happen appointment. So once I create the mindset, it's non-negotiable. My clients knew, my team knew, my broker knew, my clients knew my appointment, my morning routine up to 10:30. First, I took care of the business, took care of revenue, took care of my family, took care of peace of mind, set appointments. 10:30, I met my assistant for 10 minutes very quickly, and then I return calls at afternoon for appointments. So create your daily plan, stick to it, and make your boundary. Here's when I teach, here's when I learn, here's when I
Well,
go to
coach, this is what I
appointments.
want to ask is,
I-
okay, you're talking about having a daily plan and doing this in the morning, but how tie this in? How is this helping you have family time? How is this helping you
well,
have boundaries with your family at home?
because that's when I had, and then as I grew, I start delegating, and that's why if you don't have a VA, have a VA. So I had a TC, a VA, so I start delegating the minutia. And at 6 o'clock, I had a time block. That's when I went to dinner with my kids. I had dinner with them every night. I had breakfast and dinner, no lunch, but I had breakfast and dinner with my kids. Once I started making that a priorities, I was already selling 15, 18, 20 homes a month. So I had more clarity, more power, more time off, more fun, more quality time, going to my vacation home, selling 15, 20 homes with that strategies of having a daily plan, sticking to my daily plan, delegating the minutia, having the systems in place, right? Someone helped me to my emails goes out every week. Someone helped me. I was not doing the minutia, so I could delegate. So I had my family time. I had a date time with my husband every Friday night. And by the way, that became very good for networking, very good for business too, because other people come in to say hello to us. I had time with my kids. So it is prioritizing the schedule. What happened? Most agents, coach, they are reactive. They wake up without a plan. They wake up without intention. They only have calendars, things to do, but no, they don't
Exactly.
prioritize the
So
most
so that's
important
that's
time.
a really good point, right? Because we're talking about boundaries here. And ultimately the boundaries you decide.
You
When is the
decide.
time that I want to be with my family? When is the time I don't want to answer my phone? When does your doors close? Now, what Coach V is talking about is having a daily plan that's going to support you being able to have the consistent revenue and freedom so you
Yeah.
actually can set those boundaries, right? But now let's talk about maybe boundaries with clients because
Yeah.
it's important for us to talk about setting boundaries and setting expectations. One of the reasons that agents feel that they have to answer the phone at all times of the night and they have to respond to every text right away and they do this stuff is because they set that expectation with the client,
Exactly.
right?
Or they didn't set that
So for
expectation.
example, if Coach V has her money time blocked and she knows that it's, hey, during this time I'm not answering the phone, guess what? She can tell people that. And when she sets that expectation with someone and says, hey, from this time to this time, I'm out there looking for your buyer, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, or I'm on appointments with other clients, I'm going to be able to talk to you from this time to this time. Now that person doesn't feel bad when they can't get a hold of you from this time to this time. So
Exactly,
one of the
coach.
things that a lot of agents miss is they don't set those expectations with the clients, and then they feel when the person sends them a text at 8 o'clock at night, if I don't answer, they're going to be mad. But if you had
Exactly.
set that expectation, they're not going to be mad.
Yes, coach. I started real estate in 1999, officially full time. In 2001, I hired my first coach. And that's when he told me, he said, you're stressed out going out of your mind because you don't have the strategy in place and the process in place. That's when I start putting in my listing presentation, my buyer presentation, I set expectation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, at 7:30 p.m., after 7:30 p.m., unless it's an emergency, I return my calls next day. So I had that on my voicemail. If you leave this message after 7:30, so I had a voicemail that said, my clients knew, and the listen presentation, the buyer presentation, this is how I communicate. Every Thursday, I give an update or more often if necessary. You get a Friday email that's going to tell you everything. So I had specifically clear, if you call me, I'm not available. Don't worry. I call you as soon as I can. That means I'm with a client, maybe working on your sale or finding a buyer for you. I'm not on the golf course playing golf. So they knew that I was a go-getter. So remember this. Busy people, excuse me, successful people are busy. The only person who runs around open all the time is who doesn't do anything, doesn't have anything. Your clients expect you to be busy because you're one of the best in the world. So you can return calls as long as you return on time. Don't be a pushover, set expectations, know your minimum standard, and create your boundaries so you can have a life on your terms, just like an attorney, just like a doctor. Because if you sell homes but you don't have a life, you are miserable. I don't care how much money you make, because money is not fulfillment and happiness. You can have money and be miserable, like I was in the beginning, until I realize I can make this better. So delegate, have a virtual assistant. You go on vacation, know exactly who's going to cover for you. You're going to take a day off, who's going to cover for you, have automated systems. So many things we can do right now, right, coach? So many new
Exactly. So
processes.
so just to keep it really simple, right? Boundaries, hey, that's on you to decide. First, make the decision, decide what's important, how much time, how little time. That's up to you, right? That's a personal decision, that's a business decision. Next, if you want to have those boundaries enforced, you have to set expectations. I promise you, clients get frustrated when you don't answer because they expect you to answer. But if you teach them that to not
Yeah.
expect an answer at 10 o'clock, they don't get upset when you don't
Yeah,
answer at 10 o'clock. They're more than happy to see you respond the next morning. But if you
exactly.
train them to expect that, now they're going to be like, why are they not answering? So make sure you set
Exactly.
expectations, have proper expectation management. And then on the system side, I think, like Coach V said, we can talk about this all day.
Forever.
But one of the simplest things you can do is if you have that set routine, you treat your business like a business where you have an open time, a close time, and you make sure the most important stuff gets done. That's going to give you the freedom to actually run the rest of your day the way you want to do it because you're not scrambling, you know what's coming, and you're running your business the way you want
Right.
to.
And coach, before we go to the next question, I want to share this with you guys, and it's very important. If you don't set boundaries and how you standard, what kind of buyers you work with, sellers you work with, what time you work, and if you don't have boundary standards, you're going to become so reactive and so overwhelmed and upset. You're going to create so much resentment. That's how you start hating the business so much. It's not the business, it's not the clients. You allow yourself, you gave your power away, you gave your schedule away, you gave your time away. Don't do that. You need time to rest, relax, intimacy, laughter. Go close the day, go enjoy your family. I did that, and my business has actually grew because I had more time to network, more time to have fun. And when you feel better, you do better. When you feel great, you do great. So go find time to learn too and get better. I love this stuff, coach. Next
Exactly.
question.
Let's go to our next question. So this one I also found in a social media group, and I'll go ahead and read it and then we'll talk about it. This one actually had a lot of comments with a lot of people with a lot to say. I didn't have time to go through them, but let's see what our Coach V is going to say. So they said, I signed a listing agreement back in October and we decided it would be best to wait until February to list. I reached out to the seller yesterday and she said, well, I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to try and hold on to the house a little bit longer. Don't hate me, but my gut is saying to hold on for a bit longer. She's going to now meet and have coffee with her next week to discuss. What can I say to get the deal back on track? All right, that's a good one. And I think it's one that a lot of agents will find themselves in, right? So they signed the agreement last year and they said, we're going to list in February. Now the seller is saying, actually, I don't want to list anymore. I'm going to hold off. And the agent wants to know, how do I get her back on track? How do I get her to actually list and sell in February? And how do I do that?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to unpack here. I already
Oh,
have some stuff I
so
want to say.
much.
I'll let you go first, Coach. What would you
So
say to
much to
this agent?
unpack, so much to unpack. We can go here for 2 hours. But first of all, I understand the question. Yes, you're a business person. It takes time and energy. You want to make sure you can help people and get a transaction. Good for you. Now, let's never forget also that our job is to serve, to serve. So before we even try to bring the subject back in list now or convince or force, let's ask ourselves, what do these people really want? What's good for them? Because then you don't have commission breath, you're not attached to the outcome, you're not worried, and you do a service because they will see that you like them, you try, you care for them, and then they'll sell with you anyway. So I need to
Exactly,
know
Coach.
the
That was the first
motivation.
thing. That was the
Yeah,
first thing that I wanted to say when I said that was, guys, the first thought should not be how do I convince them to list in
yeah.
February, right? Because at the
Or
end of the
what they
day,
say to move ahead.
our job is not to convince them to do anything that they don't want to do. Our job is to see like what do they want, and then how can I get them that, right? So like
Exactly.
Coach E
And
was
how
saying,
soon?
what's important to them, how soon they want it, why do they want it, all these things we don't know in this situation. So Coach V, if you were this agent, what would be the first things that you would want to find out, and then where would you go from there?
Right. Yeah. So thank you, coach. And just remember, I'm not trying to put anybody down. I know you guys need the sale, want the sale, and you guys, want to make it happen. But I just want to emphasize this and I'll move with the question, answer the question. Just remember what Jim Rohn said. Bring your skills to the marketplace, not your needs. Bring your skills to the marketplace, not your needs. So no matter how much you need the deal, so go meet the person, the coffee, and say, hey, Joanna, I can appreciate what you told me and being honest up front with me. You want to wait more. Hey, listen, before we do anything, I'm here to help and serve. I want to do what the best for you because I'm in your team. I'm your consultant for life. I'm your advisor. So what exactly are you waiting for? Or another one is, tell me again what's important about selling this home and your timing. So let's find out exactly what she wants, how soon she wants, and why now she decided to wait. So I don't know exactly to answer, but unless you know the leverage, say leverage, everyone, leverage, unless you know the reason to drive the behavior, why she wants to sell, you're not even gonna know why she now wants to wait. So maybe if she's an investor, she doesn't have to sell right
Well,
now.
and coach, it's important
There's
too
so many
to
maybe, right,
realize
coach?
that there's really two directions this can go, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, you need to meet with the person. You need to find out why they want to wait. If it's in their best interest to wait, guess what? You should support them in waiting because that's
Yes.
your job. Now, that's a possibility. But the reality is that people get decisions in their head, ideas in their head for all sorts of reasons. She might have convinced herself that, oh, I should wait, but maybe it's not actually a good idea and it would hurt her financially, or it
Exactly.
would be worse for her timing, or she's fixating on something that's not as important. Now, if that's the case, your job isn't to convince her to do differently, but your job is to remind her, hey, this is what you told me is really important, right? These are the things that you wanted, these are the things you said, and help her to see the picture clearly because people get stuck on stuff. So you have to, as the expert, be able to make that distinction.
Yes.
Knowing her motivation, knowing her timing, knowing her situation, which we don't, guys, so we can't speak to it, you're going to have to say, okay, it does actually make a little bit of sense. Maybe it is better for her to wait. Great. But if she tells you, I just want to wait because I have a feeling, and you know that in her situation, it's going to cost her money, it's going to cost her suffering and pain, it's going to be really hard on her, and you don't want to see her go through that, guys, it's okay to own that opinion and tell her that. That's
Beautiful.
your
Yeah.
job as the consultant. That's not being pushy, that's being considerate.
Yes, and never here, Coach, what you said is brilliant. Thank you very much. And never, and when she said, I want to wait, I hate to tell you that, I want to wait, don't ever make her feel stupid or bad or say, no, of course you got to sell now. This is the best time, it's the beginning of the spring, whatever. Don't say that because you don't know what she needs or not. That's what makes real estate agents sound salesy or bad. They say, Joanna, we had a plan and that's okay if the plan change. I just want to make sure we're doing the right thing in the right time because I care for you and you have me here as your expert. Let me ask you, what changed? What made you decide? What's make you to lean in to wait? You have to find out what she has. So it's an objection. I don't want to do it in February. I want to wait. You don't know if it's an objection or a condition. Or maybe there's something that you didn't know. Maybe they said, I can't sell because my divorce is not final. There's a condition. You can't do
Right.
anything
Well,
about
you're talking
it.
about that. Let me just clarify for anyone who's not
Yeah.
sure, right? Objection versus condition. An objection you can solve. I don't want to sell because the interest rates are kind of high. Hey, have you heard about this program you qualify for? Oh, wow, I can afford that. Okay, I'll sell and buy my next one. Great, you
Yeah.
solved the objection. Oh, I don't want to sell and buy yet because I'm only going to move if I get that job and I still am going through the interview process. No, 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 you should just go ahead and sell. They don't know. There's nothing you can do. It's
It's
outside
a
of your
condition.
control, right? So in this case, coach, it seems like the best thing this agent can do is go there and investigate.
Yeah.
And if they have
With a lot of empathy.
and if they have objections, you can try to solve the individual objections, not to push them, but if they say, oh, actually, we decided we don't want to move anymore because the packing seems overwhelming and I'm just, it's too much. Now, if you can bring a solution to that and say,
Yeah.
I have these great packers and these great movers and I can handle that for you. If we can handle this, that, and the other, would you still do it? Well, I guess so. Great, you can move on. But now if they
Exactly.
say something that is not like that, it's not about just saying, "Oh, now's the best time, now's the best time." Remember, it's about bringing the solution, not convincing them.
Exactly. So here's your job, my darling. All of you listening, all my beautiful people here listening. Your job right now is to investigate what happened and what changed and how important and how major is this change for them so she won't compromise. So have empathy. So I'll say like this, active listening, ask a lot of questions, go deep, ask more, tell me more, what changed, give me an example, and then have tactical empathy. And then handle whatever needs to be done. And if it makes sense that they want to go in July because the kid's going to be out of school, you say, great, no problem. Can we agree that when the time is right, I'll be the one? So make sure, hopefully, we even have a contract already. If you don't have, get the verbal
Well, they,
agreement
they
and
did,
stay
right?
on
They
time.
signed it in October.
Oh,
So
yes,
look,
yes,
you're in a
yes.
you're in a good position
Beautiful
here.
place. Yeah. So now remember, guys, this is what you want to be. You want to become the ultra professional and the trust advisor. Let them feel it's about them. Hey, Vanda, it's about you. If you do now or 3 months from now, hey, no problem, I'll be here. I just want to know more. Can I ask you some questions? Because if I know more, I can advise you even better. And I want to make sure we make this decision based on facts and what's important for you, not only about a feeling. And then she might say feeling, and then you can say, you know what? We don't have a crystal ball. This is what I know. And then evidence, evidence,
Yeah.
proof, and
Give your professional
you
opinion. Give
professional
her
opinion.
some worst case if we wait, best case if we wait, most likely. Give her some options to choose from and guide
Yeah.
her to that decision. And
Guys, let
coach,
me tell you something.
I want to say this before I pass it back to you and you can probably close us out here. This just makes me think of our first question where we said, hey, you got to make sure you have a routine and you're doing money time every day. Because, guys, if you have some clients like this, that their motivation isn't that high, this is why we always got to be generating new
Pipeline.
business, right? Keep that pipeline full because plans change. People go up and down on their excitement and their motivation and their
Yeah.
plans. So, yes, keep following up with this person, keep nurturing this person. If you can solve it at coffee, great. If you can't, make sure you're still generating new business.
I want to share this with you. Thank you, coach. This is brilliant. Listen to me. Do you guys want to have more peace of mind in 2026? Do you want to have more freedom and joy in your life 2026 and more control, life in your terms? Keep your pipeline full no matter what. Keep having that appointment with the appointment to set appointments in the morning, done out of the way. Because when you have a pipeline full, no matter what happened, I'll share this with you and say goodbye. I remember like yesterday, I listed a home with this wonderful couple, older couple, and they said, Vanda, we're going to put the house in a month. The house in the market in a month. I signed a contract in a month to go in the market. I helped them how to get the house ready. I advised them, send my housekeeper there. I printed a 1,500 postcards to send out. I did everything, got this beautiful house ready. The day we put on the market, we got a full price offer. clean, beautiful full price offer. It has a contingency on the loan, but it was a full price offer. They start crying and said, "We can't sell. We know they did a lot of stuff going on. What am I gonna do? Put a knife here and said you gotta sell? No, I'm in the business of service." I said, "You know what? You don't have to sell. The offer is not completely perfect, and I'm not even gonna ask for my commission, even though I did my job. I'll take the loss." But I'm here for you. I just want to ask a big favor. Can you promise me when the time's right, let me finish my job, let me sell the home? And I want to ask you, if you hear anyone thinking about selling or buying, would you send it to me? Guys and girls, listen to me, superstars. Their house didn't sell. We canceled the contract. In 2 years, they gave me so many referrals, so many Uncle Joe, Bank Mary, friends, everyone. And then 2 years later, I sold their home and I sold for more money. So don't ever get attached to the thing. Do the best for your client, release the outcome, because listen to me, I got a lot of referrals from these people and I got to sell their home 2 years later for a lot of more money. So I hope this was valuable, right, Coach Yvonne?
Exactly. Guys, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe so you catch the next one. We're always putting out great videos and content for you guys. We love what we do. We're here for you. Ask it questions in the comments if you want us to answer them on the next video, and we'll see you on the next one, right,
We'll
Coach?
see you in the next one. Always remember, there's always a strategy for everything. And if you have the skills, the mindset, and the proper strategies with the right systems, your life is easier and better. It was for me, it's going to be for you too. Thank you so much. We love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye, Coach. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.